Hello everyone, it's been a while. I'm back with another language tips sharing video. I started learning Japanese in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. I spent 1 year on N5 and N4 levels, another 1 year on N3, and finally it took almost 3 years to pass the GLPT N2. I learned all these through self-study. From the very first start, I've already made up my mind to reach an advanced level. And I took the GLPT exam only once, and it was about 2 years ago, which was N2 level. But I have a plan to take it again in the future because I'm not quite satisfied with my marks. In this video, I will share my Japanese learning journey as well as some advice. I like to share what works well for me in language learning because I feel like videos of other people's language learning approaches and experiences have helped shape a lot of what I do now and have found really successful. But I've only figured out what has become successful for me by trying those things out. A quick disclaimer is that there's no one way to learn a language, and we are all very different people who learn very differently. So what works well for me might not work well for you. So simply stay with what you found to be most effective of you. Starting to learn a new language can be daunting, especially nowadays. With so many options and resources, it can be hard to know which path to follow. One of the best advice for me to beginners who want to self-study is don't search forever. One of my biggest mistakes was looking for the best method to learn Japanese, and in the end, I ended up using more time to search for the best method instead of really learning things. Be committed, start one part, and work on it for a while. After you pick a resource, see it through to the end. Don't waste time switching back and forth between different language learning methods or materials. But switch to another one if you find that the first one isn't really working for you. And one of my go-to resources when I'm at a beginner level is textbooks, especially for self-study. I know some people prefer to just dive right into immersion as soon as they start learning. But for me, I've personally found that textbooks can really help me build a solid foundation in a language by giving me the vocabulary and the grammar that I need to very basically express myself and understand what's going on, which then allows me to work on improving a language through using comprehensible input. A lot of people recommend and use Kanji, which is also a great textbook for beginners, but for me, I learned through Minano Nihongo. But you can use any standard Japanese textbook. Beginner textbooks like Genki or Minano Nihongo can be done very quickly. Minano Nihongo books are divided into 4 levels: Shokyu 1 and 2 and Chukyu 1 and 2. Shokyu 1 and 2 are for beginners, and Chukyu 1 and 2 are made for intermediate learners. For me, I learned 2 chapters per week. I used Nihongo Soumatome, which is primarily for GLPT and also Shinkansen, as I advanced to the N3 and N2 levels. The lessons in Nihongo Soumatome are already divided into 4 daily grammar structures and are split down into weekly units. Hence, you may save a ton of time arranging what to learn if you just follow the study pattern. There will be practice exercises after finishing all weekly lessons. Spending a lot of time bogged down in textbooks isn't conducive to actually using a language, but they give you a good base. I started learning Japanese because I really wanted to understand the conversations in the anime. But I know I have to master the basics first, like hiragana, katakana, and some basic kanji. It just takes only 1 to 4 weeks to complete these alphabets. Although learning through anime and watching YouTube videos are great tactics, you should wait until you understand the fundamentals of grammar first. Otherwise, you'll be listening to noise and staring at the subtitles with no means of understanding anything. I'd say you should first study basic grammar and understand basic word order or be at least somewhat familiar with common particles. Animalon is a great website for learning Japanese through anime, which includes both English and Japanese subtitles. Simply highlight the words, and a website will quickly translate them for you. If you're still struggling with kanji, you can still learn using hiragana and katakana. If you prefer learning from YouTube channels like Rui Ohama, Onomapu Japanese Pod 101, Nihongo Japanese M with Misa are great. Repeatedly encountering the grammar and vocabulary will eventually make you acquire it. Here, acquiring is different from memorizing. Acquiring is when you can use something without thinking. If you just memorize a language, you're gonna have to remember and think about how to piece together the words according to the grammar rules. Note that we speak our first languages instantly without having to think of the grammar. Everything appeared well until I learned the GLPT N4 level, which was difficult and had a large number of advanced kanji, although I know Chinese. Then I realized that spaced repetition, which involves repeatedly reviewing and recalling information at regular intervals, is a wonderful approach to learning Japanese, particularly kanji and vocabulary. I attempted it using a variety of approaches, including handmade flashcards, writing, and the Leitner system. All of them didn't work for me since I didn't have too much time. Finally, I tried the spaced repetition app and I discovered MochiKanji Learn Japanese. I'd like to provide more information about this software. MochiKanji helps me choose the best suitable studying course based on my current goal and level. I mean, you can choose courses that interest you or are appropriate for your level. For the time being, I'm learning N2, so I choose equivalent to GLPT N2. Then you can choose the textbook you're currently using. For me, it's Nihongo Sou Matome. And finally, choose your reason for learning Japanese. After choosing the level, the app will recommend the most suitable course for you to learn. MochiKanji Learn Japanese app helps memorize more than 1,000 kanji and vocabulary in just 1 month with a unique golden time feature, which is based on the spaced repetition. It leverages my learning history to pinpoint the exact golden time, the time my brain can memorize the best, sending timely reminders for review to maximize retention efficiency. My learned vocabulary is categorized based on the 5 levels of memorization. MochiKanji will divide the vocabulary into 5 levels, from level 1, just learned, to level 5, long-term memory, making sure you get the hang of all that you learned. You can also check each word level in a digital notebook. With hundreds of lessons, up to 8,000 words and kanji, the app provides full vocabulary and kanji from N5 to N2 for GLPT exams and Japanese communication, specialized vocabulary courses such as IT, services, nursing. There are 800 to 900 kanji and vocab for each level, and the courses are divided around 10 words and kanji per lesson into small topics. MochiKanji's vocab and kanji, including furigana, are designed in the form of flashcards with audio, eye-appealing images, and example sentences. It offers interesting quizzes for each new word to help you remember words more easily. To make learning more effective, you can play reviewing games after learning each lesson. MochiKanji offers various reviewing quizzes, including reading, writing, and listening, so that you can review words in a comprehensive way. Now, they have added some new features. You can skip the words you've already known while learning the lessons, and you can even predict stroke orders during the lessons or in the right tab, from GLPT N5 to N2 levels. It also provides step-by-step kanji writing games that help you memorize kanji stroke orders fast and effectively. You can practice daily conversations with the adorable characters Mochi and Michi on the Conversation tab. This will help learners improve their reflexes and gain more input when communicating in Japanese. Additionally, by typing kana, romaji, or kanji in the search tab, you can search for Japanese kanji and unfamiliar words. Lastly, by participating in monthly events at Mochi Events, you may also win gifts. Almost forgot. There is also a Mochi Garden, which helps you keep your learning routine and motivation. Plant your virtual trees, then take care of them by achieving your specific goal. You could download it via the App Store, Google Play Store, as well as the website. By searching MochiKanji Learn Japanese, you can easily find and try how it works. The links are also included in my description and comment sections. There are a few things you have to remember when learning though. The content you are immersing with has to be comprehensible, meaning you will need to understand part of it before you can get anything out of it. While I do think listening to incomprehensible Japanese helps in ways such as letting you get used to how the language sounds, I don't think you can acquire Japanese from just listening entirely. You have to have some foundation, meaning you still need to go through a grammar guide or a textbook. Once you do have a foundation, you're still gonna have to start with anime or Japanese media with easy-to-understand Japanese. The most popular choices are children's shows because you're essentially still just a baby in terms of the language. Same thing with reading. You have learned kana, so you start with NHK Easy, where the sentences are very easy to understand. Once I was able to understand and make very simple sentences, I started saying my thoughts out loud in Japanese, like talking to myself. この後何をすればいいな。ああ、忘れるところだった。宿題終わらせなきゃ。I believe this helped me a lot with practicing speaking since I didn't actually have anyone to speak Japanese with when I started learning. But now there are a lot of websites where you can learn languages, talk, and make friends with people around the world. Hello Talk is like a social network for language learning. You can make posts and have people correct your grammar and make friends that you can practice Japanese with. Hi Native is a website where you can get language learning help and ask questions to native speakers of Japanese. Beyond all that, the most important thing is drive, consistency, and having a goal. Without those, you will flounder around. Make an effort to spend at least an hour a day on something linked to your Japanese study. Practice every day, even if it is for a short amount of time. Practicing 7 days a week for 50 minutes is much more effective for your learning than practicing for 3 hours in just one day. I have put my learning materials and other resources in my description box. I'm looking forward to hearing how you learned Japanese as well. What platforms did you use? Did you use online or textbooks? What worked best to learn it and what didn't? You can share your Japanese learning journey in the comment section so that I can also learn from you too. Wish you the best of luck on your Japanese learning journey.